England correct, but whatever. It's fun. Yeah, thanks for coming. We're gonna just get this started. Feel free to use the chat. It's, people can't applaud or anything in a Zoom show, so the chat's how we know how people like it.
Yeah, so sit back and enjoy Last Will and Matrimony.
Exterior, garden home, night. Establishing shots outside of a lavish garden home. It is turn of the 20th century during the exciting London season. Carriages are arriving, and the finely dressed young ladies and gentlemen are entering the home, looking forward to the night ahead. Interior, garden home, night, continuous. Establishing shots of everyone enjoying the ball. Couples dance in the middle as folks engage in conversation on the outskirts of the ballroom. Victor is in the middle of a conversation with Alfred, both young gentlemen.
My dear cousin, who is that gorgeous woman over there?
That is Lord Alice, Lord Farrington's daughter.
Alice, a young woman, stands across the room in an incredibly luxurious dress.
Daughter of a viscount, and this radiant young woman is unspoken for.
Yes, I hear she's in her 4th season because
She's most likely one of those modern types dreaming of adventure.
Not quite. Let me tell you why you're wrong.
Well, then I suppose I shall have to be the adventurous type.
Victor tosses back his drink and runs off to approach Alice. Alfred shakes his head to himself. Pan over to Marjorie and Bernard, who is dancing with Bernard.
Oh, Marjorie, I'm so glad we've been able to keep each other company. Being with you has brought me such joy.
He smiles, reveling a bit of food stuck in his teeth. Marjorie forces a slight smile and speaks, emotionless.
Likewise.
As the two part and switch partners, Marjorie quickly loses a smile and sighs to herself. Pan over to Lord and Lady Farrington.
Mary, our girls have grown so fast.
Yes, dear, they're quite the young ladies now.
Seems like only yesterday Karen was running around the garden, chasing the dog around, and now she's in her 1st season.
She may be in her 1st season, but Caroline is still chasing the dogs.
Pan to Caroline, on the other side of the dance floor, in conversation with Franklin.
It's been lovely dancing with you this evening.
And it has been a pleasure making your acquaintance, Lady Caroline.
Ooh, the pleasure is all mine. And the pleasure can be all yours too.
Pardon?
I will be waiting in the courtyard. I'll be alone.
But Franklin, somewhat shocked, steps back.
But why the courtyard? We would miss all of the dancing.
A whisper now. Listen. Yes, but the courtyard is full of dark corners. Dark corners for dark deeds.
Franklin steps back again.
For the sake of your honor, I am choosing to not understand your meaning, Lady Caroline.
Oh, well then, let me make myself beyond misinterpretation.
Caroline leans in and whispers in Franklin's ear. He stares ahead, concerned at first, and then bursts out laughing.
You had me going for a minute. What an amusing jest.
Franklin walks away to talk to another lady. Caroline is quite put off by being misunderstood. Alice and Marjorie come over to Caroline.
What did you say to him?
And I wanted to hug his belly.
Alice and Marjorie laugh.
Don't mock me. I'll figure it out one of these days.
Well, Marjorie, Bernard seems lovely.
Heavens, no.
You spent half of the season with him wrapped around your little finger.
And half the season trying to shake him off. Just look at him.
We see Bernard speaking to some folks across the way. He is smiling.
What am I looking at?
His grin. It's just ghastly.
You're rejecting him because of his pleasant nature.
No, I'm rejecting him because that thing in his teeth has been there since the Earl's ball 4 nights ago.
Victor approaches the two.
Lady Alice, would you do me the honor of having the next dance with me?
Thank you, but I'm not interested.
Oh, dear, not this again.
Well, I understand. You're a modern woman who does not wish to be tied down. You wish to have adventures and see the world, and I find that very attractive in a lady. I think it is a shame women must choose between freedom and sisterhood. Spinsterhood.
Yes, it is very refreshing to see a man be so comfortable with being so wrong on so many accounts. I am not modern, and the greatest adventure I aspire to is sitting down to dinner when the cook is trying a new recipe. As for a spinsterhood, is how you put it, it is unequivocally my greatest ambition. So I shall not be dancing this evening.
My dear woman, you see, I am a duke and a handsome one at that.
Congratulations on your title and your agreeable appearance. Now, if you're interested in courting one of my lovely sisters, aiding me on my quest for solitude, you are most welcome. But I, for one, shall not be dancing with you, my dear sir.
Victor storms off. Cut 2, Lord Farrington is standing alone until his sister Beatrice joins him.
Richard?
Oh, my dear sister Beatrice. I hope the season is finding you and your son well.
I am doing quite well, and Cecil is trying.
Trying as in making an effort, or trying your patience?
Yes.
Cut 2, Cecil, a man in his mid-30s, well-dressed but greasy looking, as if all of the well-made Victorian garb only served to accentuate his rodent-like qualities, approaches Marjorie and Alice.
Oh, look, it's the Sisters Bailey.
Cousin Cecil.
Might I say I am utterly shocked by the lack of eligible young men by your side.
Are you to talk, dear cousin? I'm certain the only lady I saw take your hand tonight was your mother.
Oh, at least I have the courage to take to the dance floor.
It is not that I lack the courage, cousin Cecil, rather that I lack the will, and where there's no will, there's no way.
Oh, I'll let the spinsterhood be. And mind your sister, I have counted no less than 3 men she has traumatized this evening.
Cecil gestures to Caroline, whispering in Alfred's ear. He first seems interested, and then continues to listen to what she says. His face turns red. He is shocked and he runs off. Exterior garden home night. It's the end of the ball. Lord and Lady Farrington are walking out, with their daughters trailing not far behind them.
Quite an evening of festivities. Did you all enjoy yourselves?
It was a lovely time, Papa.
Huh, what's there to enjoy if your daughters are not meeting potential suitors?
Well, it seemed like Carolyn had a wonderful time, didn't you, dear?
I did, though I was told several times by men that I may be too forward, but I'd rather think they are too backwards.
Well, at least you and Marjorie have made an attempt. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. But Alice, if you are not careful, you'll die before you are wed.
Then I shall make a point to be quite careless.
Darling, the girls aren't looking for love right now. Everything in its own time.
Lord Farrington takes Lady Farrington's hand to help her into their carriage. Their daughters join them. Interior hallway, the Bailey's London home day. The hallway of an affluent estate in London society. Everything is orderly, immaculate, tasteful, and expensive. Percy Davies, the valet of Lord Farrington, is walking down the hallway. He knocks on his lord's bedroom chamber.
My lord, is everything quite all right? Griffiths was wondering if you were planning on coming down to breakfast or if he should have the maids clear it up. Knock, knock. My lord?
Davies slowly opens the door and enters. Cut to interior Lady Farrington's bedchambers. Day. Lady Farrington is in bed eating breakfast. A lady's maid, Miss Hall, is laying out her dress for the day. We hear a loud pounding on the other side of the door.
My lady, my lady, my lady, my lady, I have urgent news.
Davies enters. The two women are aghast.
Davies, heavens, I'm not dressed. Please leave at once.
Oh, pardon your ladyship, I would not be so improper, save that I have the most grievous of news.
Well, out with it, and for your sake it had better be proportional to your reaction.
I wish that it were not, my lady, but it seems as though your husband, Lord Farrington, has died.
Seems as though, has he in actuality?
In actuality, my lady.
Piss and ass!
My lady!
I will not have a scolding from you, Miss Hall. Mr. Davies, who else knows?
Just of those of us in this room, my lady. I came to you as soon as I discovered him.
Very good. We must keep it like that.
Lady Farrington gets out of bed and begins to dress in earnest. Miss Hall is scrambling to keep up with her. Davies is staring in shock at the impropriety of an undressed woman.
I must go into town. You shall not breathe a word of this to anyone without my expressed say-so. Is that clear?
Yes, my lady.
Yes, my lady.
Good. If anyone asks, say Lord Farrington has fallen ill. And for heaven's sake, Davies, could you kindly remove your lower jaw from the floor before it stains the carpet? And call the coachman.
Right, my apologies, my lady.
Davies hurries out of the room.
Is there anything quite useless in a crisis as a man?
Interior foyer, day. Lady Farrington, now fully dressed, is walking briskly to the main door. Alice wanders in from the next room.
Mother, are you heading out?
Oh, yes. I'm afraid I have an urgent errand to run into town. I should return shortly.
Well then, hopefully you will catch us sitting vigil waiting for gentlemen callers who never call.
They would call if you wooed.
Mother, please, it is tedious enough waiting for a man to show up. I cannot imagine the soporific effect if one actually showed up.
We'll discuss this later.
Where's Papa?
Davy said he was feeling a bit under the weather, so be sure not to disturb him so he can have his rest.
Griffiths, the butler, steps forward.
My lady, the carriage is here for you.
Thank you, Griffiths. And Alice, I love you.
What a queer thing to say, Mother.
I've had a queer morning.
Lady Farrington heads to the door. Exterior, the Farringtons' home, continuous. A coachman helps Lady Farrington into the carriage. Interior, the carriage, continuous. Lady Farrington looks stoic as the horse-drawn carriage bounces along the cobblestones. It seems as if she might cry, but is fighting very hard against it. Before a tear can shed, she dabs at her eye with an handkerchief. Exterior, London street day. Several people walk up and down a fairly busy street in London. Lady Farrington walks through them up to the door of a business. She glances around, then enters. A sign on the door reads, Haugen and Fitch, Solicitors. Interior Office of Haugen and Fitch Day. Lady Farrington is sitting in front of a desk. Fitch enters carrying a file. He is a well-to-do solicitor with a very fine mustache.
Lady Farrington, my apologies for keeping you waiting.
Nonsense. If one shows up unannounced, one cannot complain about being made to wait.
Ah, very graciously said. Now, I have your husband's will right here, and you said he had some questions.
Yes, Lord Farrington had one of those nagging suspicions when he drafted it 2 years ago that he must have forgotten something significant. He's been blustering about it for weeks and has been too busy to make it here himself, so I said I would stop by to put his mind at ease.
Well, very well. Let's see here. It states that his fortune is to be divided equally amongst his daughter's husbands.
And does anything go to them?
Well, some small items of personal value, it seems, but you know, when it comes to money and inheritance, the law is not kind to women.
I suppose the law wanted to fit in with every other institution.
Quite so. Well, that will set him at ease, I hope. It's a relatively simple will, but quite clear.
Yes, thank you. I do have one question. My daughters are as of yet unmarried. If something were to happen to my husband, heaven forbid, what would happen to the money?
Well, you shouldn't worry about that. Lord Farrington is a healthy man, and I'm sure your daughters have suitors throwing themselves at their feet.
Yes, but humor me, Mr. Fitch. What if?
If such a tragedy were to occur, the money would go to his male next of kin, whom I believe is his nephew.
You wouldn't be referring to...
Interior foyer day. The doorbell rings and the door is promptly opened by Griffiths, revealing Cecil.
Mr. Cox.
Hello, Griffiths.
Cecil lets himself in, thrusting his hat and overcoat at Griffiths as he passes by.
The young ladies are in the drawing room.
Then I shall see myself in.
Very good, sir.
Cecil heads directly to the drawing room. Griffiths looks down to the hat and coat he is holding warily. He crinkles his nose, sniffs a little, and flinches, and then immediately hands them off to a maid who is passing by. Interior drawing room continuous. In the large ornate drawing room there is a tea and large amount of finger sandwiches, cakes and biscuits that seems to mock the solidarity of the three sisters. Alice sits at a piano playing something that seems improvised. Marjorie is sipping tea and Caroline is reading a small anatomy book hidden in a larger, more appropriate one. Suddenly, Cecil appears. Marjorie and Caroline look up, hopefully.
Good morning, cousins.
Oh, good morning, cousin Cecil. Cecil.
Am I the only man to call on you today? Is this the house of the three eligible ladies or a nunnery?
Cousin Cecil, you know full well this is not a nunnery, for they are much better warded against hellspawn.
If only my aim were as sharp as your tongue, Cousin Alice, then I should be the finest hunter in Yorkshire.
And if only our lamps were as oily as your hair, we might never have a shortage of light.
Marjorie, Cecil, either take up cake or dueling canes. I care not, so long as it results in quiet.
I shall take up the cake.
Cecil goes over to the table with food and eats one of the finger sandwiches in a single bite.
Is this? It's revolting.
Cecil takes two more. Marjorie looks on in barely masked horror.
So, how can we help you?
Would you believe a friendly visit to my beloved family?
No.
Well, as it happens, I had a spot of bad luck at the card tables the other night, and I was wondering if I could borrow £50 to cover my debts.
Haven't you an allowance for such debauchery?
it has been a large spot of bad luck. I would ask my mother, but she finds my gambling deplorable.
Just your gambling?
Anyways, your generosity would go a large way to maintaining the dignity of the family name.
While we may share family blood, I count ourselves lucky that we do not share a family name, Mr. Cox. And so you must maintain its dignity by yourself.
Farrington enters.
Cecil, what are you doing here?
Trying to get our money.
Our money? What right do you have to our money?
He owes some money at the club and is too embarrassed to ask his mother for it.
But most likely not embarrassed enough to ask our mother for it.
I do apologize, Aunt Mary, but this small kindness would go a very long way.
Perhaps if the pain of asking for your money is too great, you should remember that before you lose it again.
You and your daughters are full of spite as you are devoid of generosity. And if you were starving in the gutter and all I had to do to save you was spare you a thought, I would not give it.
That is fair, seeing as how few thoughts you have to start with. Now, I will kindly ask you to leave and have your tantrum elsewhere.
Cecil stares at her with fire in his eyes, stuffs another sandwich in his mouth, and storms off.
Well done, Mother.
Of all the things you should have inherited from me, I wish my temper was not one.
Mother, is Papa quite all right? Alice said he was not feeling quite well.
Afraid I have some dreadful news.
Cut to interior library. The Lady Farrington leads her 3 daughters and closes all the doors and draws all the curtains, leaving them in a very dimly lit room. Hall, Griffiths and Davies are already there.
Mother, whatever is the matter? You're starting to scare me.
Oh, are you finally going to tell me what married people do? Does it have anything to do with the belly button?
Hush, Caroline. Mother, what is it? You must tell us.
As children.
Should we not wait for Papa?
Well, that is what I was going to say.
And what are Miss Hall and Davies doing here?
Surely they should not be privy to anything that Papa is not.
Well, I'm sure Papa would be far too embarrassed to hear about the enigmas of the belly button.
Oh, will you please shut up?
Everyone freezes.
If I were a barmaid at a roadside inn, I would have more civilized discourse.
We're sorry, Mother. What is it?
Your father has passed away last night.
A stunned silence. Caroline, unable to stand, takes a seat.
Poor old Papa.
I'm sorry, Mother. Don't worry about a thing. I shall make all the arrangements.
You shall do nothing of the sort.
But, Mother, please let me do this for you.
You do not understand. You shall not be making the arrangements because no arrangements shall be made.
You are quite right, Mother. I'm afraid we do not understand.
Sadly, your father's passing is just the beginning of our troubles. You see, your father did not expect to die before you were all wed, and as such, has left all of his possessions to your husbands. And seeing as they do not exist, the next in line to inherit is most unfortunately Cecil.
A moment of stunned silence.
Piss and ass!
Hall flinches at the curse. The 3 sisters all start talking over one another.
How could this be? How could Papa do this?
Mother, you can't let this stand.
Cousins on the street. I mean, he said as much as
He's allowed.
Lady Farrington holds up a hand to silence them.
What I am about to suggest is as unsavory as it is outlandish, and for it to work, I will need all of you to listen and do exactly as I say. That includes you, Miss Hall, you, Davies, and you, Griffiths. So if any of you have any reservations, leave now, because after this moment, you are all co-conspirators.
My loyalty has always been to the Bailey family, and so it shall stay.
Hear, hear.
They all look to Hall.
All right then, but promise I won't have to do anything illegal.
No.
Oh. All right then.
When it becomes clear that no one is leaving, Lady Farrington goes on.
It is my intent to hide the fact of Lord Farrington's passing until one of you is married. Then we shall have to conspire to recreate his death for the public record. That way, the estate inheritance will stay within the family. The part of the acceptable family, that is.
Right, Mother. I believe I speak for all of us when I say we're in.
Absolutely.
Thank you, girls.
But, Mother, where is Papa now?
Lady Farrington looks to Davies, and everyone else follows her gaze.
Well, I haven't touched him.
Cut 2. Interior hallway. The Baileys' London home night. The hallway outside of Lord Farrington's bedchambers is completely dark, except for the bit of moonlight streaming in from the windows. Down the hall there is a bit of illumination growing to reveal Davies and Griffiths in their nightshirts, holding candles. I go down the hall, softly knocking on the bedroom doors one by one. The 3 sisters emerge. Hall comes from the other direction with a candle, escorting Lady Farrington. Caroline, Marjorie, and Hall stand guard as Davies, Griffiths, Alice, and Lady Farrington enter Lord Farrington's bedchamber. The 4 surround his bed and look at his body solemnly. Close up on the 3 keeping watch. There is a sound, muffled thumping, and sounds of effort from behind Lord Farrington's door. The 4 emerge into the hallway, holding the body wrapped up in a sheet. The group makes its way down the stairs, with Hall, Caroline, and Marjorie constantly checking in front of and behind them, while the other 4 struggle to haul the body. Cut 2. Exterior behind the kitchens. Night. The group of 7 drag the body out around the back of the house. When they get to a clear spot, they drop the body unceremoniously. Lady Farrington, Alice, Davies, and Griffiths are panting.
Now what do we do with him?
Hall reappears with 2 shovels. Lady Farrington takes them and hands them to Caroline and Marjorie. She said dig, but she was on mute.
You can't be serious.
Well, if you wish, I could call Cousin Cecil to come and he can help.
How deep?
Cut 2. Later, Marjorie and Davies are in the now finished hole that is about 3 feet deep. The party is a mess, having all taken a turn digging. The candles are burned down to nubs. Lady Farrington goes over to the wrapped body.
Someone grab his feet and help me.
Shouldn't we say a few words?
Not tonight, Caroline. All of you listen, and listen well, because I can only afford to say this once. This is not a funeral, because Lord Farrington is not dead. He is taken ill, or else otherwise occupied. He cannot die, and hence we cannot grieve until one of you has married. We are walking on a razor's edge, and any slip means our family's ruin. I know that your father's and my desire that you should marry have been delayed by your standards, your stubbornness, and your vulgarity, but marriage is no longer a game. It is a war, and your frivolity is no longer amusing. It is fatal. So rest up, girls. Tomorrow you enter the trenches.
Exterior. Polo match. Alice, Marjorie, and Caroline dressed smartly, walking abreast behind Lady Farrington. Lady Farrington stops with a parasol at her side amongst the crowd watching the polo match. The three girls stop. Lady Farrington gestures for them to disperse and mingle. They do. Cut to Alice is standing with a friend, Viola, who is with two gentlemen.
I'm not at that page. If someone could so kindly assist.
Oh, is it page 22 in the PDF?
Oh, right. Okay, just a moment.
Your time.
Much appreciated.
Absolutely
What
no
a day
interest.
it's been. Truly, apologies, Lord.
That's fine. I don't even want to be here. Hi.
My dearest friend, you remember Reginald and of course my brother Walter?
Yes, I do remember Walter.
Walter's and Alice's eyes connect. Is this fate? Cut to Lady Farrington is seated next to Lady Russo.
This ought to be a thrilling match. The team seems so evenly matched.
Lady Farrington is looking on to Alice and Walter and turns her head back to the game. Lady Farrington raises an eyebrow.
It appears they are.
Cut to Marjorie in the middle of a conversation with Gordon.
Polo was never the sport for me. I never got a good handle on the mallet.
It's far too wild for my liking. Hunting is a bit more proper.
Gordon starts to touch his egregious mutton chops.
Agreed. There's nothing more elegant than slaughtering pheasant for sport.
Marjorie tries to feign amusement, but is distressed as Gordon continues to touch his facial hair. Oh, cut to Caroline is chatting with George, a handsome young man.
I'm the youngest of three sisters.
Oh, three. That's a blessing. I'm the middle of six.
Goodness, how many would you say is ideal?
No more than four. 2 boys, 2 girls would be perfect.
Well, there's no better time than the present to get on it.
Pardon me?
Oh, you know, the polo is on its course, but we could really engage in horseplay behind the stables.
George is taken aback by such a statement. Cut to the polo pitch. A player steals the ball away from the opposing team. Lady Russo and Lady Farrington applaud.
That was quite the play.
I'm quite shocked. I didn't expect that of them at all.
Lady Farrington isn't talking about the match. She's looking on at Caroline and George. Cut 2. Gordon is in the middle of speaking to Marjorie.
The only Oxford he'd be getting into would be his shoe.
Marjorie fake laughs at one of his jokes. Once again, Gordon touches his facial hair, twirling his chops. Marjorie tries to hide her displeasure in the habit, but becomes wide-eyed.
Are you ill, my lady?
I'm perfectly fine, thank you.
Shall we go sit?
I am well, Gordon. Now, what were we discussing?
Horses and sport.
Oh, why, my father had, he has a horse named Penny that he gave me, and she is just my joy to ride. Stop it!
Gordon tries to put his hand on his mutton chops one more time. Marjorie, disgusted, slaps his hand away before he can. Ha!
I can see that my presence has somehow offended you, so let me rectify my error.
Gordon retreats.
No, please, don't go.
Cut 2. Back to Alice, standing next to Walter, as Viola talks with Reginald.
It's always a delight to see you, Alice.
Likewise.
Must take an army to pull you away from your pianoforte.
You have no idea.
A beat. Alice thinks, and then speaks.
Walter, we should be married.
Forgive me?
Well, you are not engaged, and you have always seemed to have a fondness for me.
Alice, I most certainly do not accept. I do have a certain fondness for you. Well, yet this needs time. Marriage is a complicated matter.
Marriage isn't complicated. It's a business agreement between two people.
Is that what you see marriage as? Solely a business agreement?
Why, yes, what else would it be for?
For love, Alice. For companionship and affection. Now, excuse me, I have a match to attend.
Cut 2. On the polo pitch, the opposing team scores. Lady Russo and Lady Farrington are displeased.
Oh, they'll get it back.
Really? They couldn't make a move if they tried.
Lady Farrington is shaking her head in disapproval. Of course, she wasn't talking about the game, but was speaking to her daughter Alice's failed flirting attempt. Cut 2. Caroline is continuing to flirt with George.
I'm getting really excited thinking about it.
About what?
Oh, you know.
She winks.
I'm quite sorry, but I wish I did know.
You know, your man parts.
Caroline pokes George right above his belly button.
The belly button.
George laughs. We're unsure if he's tickled by Caroline or uncomfortable. As he's laughing, Bernard appears.
Pardon, milady, but my mother requires my brother at this instant.
Good day, Caroline.
George is pulled away, looking somewhat relieved. Cut 2. The polo match is continuing. Lady Farrington is leaving.
Well, this was a waste of a day.
What do you mean? The game isn't over?
It may not be over, but we have lost quite miserably.
Lady Farrington exits, leaving Lady Russo quite confused. Cut 2. Interior, drawing room. The three sisters sit, once again waiting upon callers. Alice is at a needlepoint. Marjorie paces the room, and Caroline is reading an anatomy text. On the page, the male reproductive system. Within a larger book, her head is turned to the side, trying to understand what she is seeing. She looks up to Griffiths, trying to figure out how the illustration lines up. Lady Farrington enters with Miss Hall following her.
I have never been more disappointed in my daughters than I was yesterday.
Whatever do you mean, Mother? I did my best flirting with Walter.
I saw you scare off the poor boy.
I only told him what I wanted, an agreeable marriage.
Oh, Alice, you have a lot to learn.
That she does.
Like you're one to speak, getting ill over the slightest imperfections.
I only hold my companions to the same high standards to which I hold myself.
Girls, let me show you how it's done.
But Mother, you have not flirted in decades.
Pardon me, but which of us in this room has ever wooed a worthy suitor?
Marjorie and Caroline raise their hands.
Successfully.
Marjorie and Caroline's hands quickly shoot down.
I thought so. Now, Ms. Hall, take a seat so the girls can learn from a master.
Lady Farrington sits on the sofa, pats a cushion next to her, looking up to Hall. Miss Hall sits down next to her.
The weather's most agreeable this afternoon.
Miss Hall looks confused as what to do next. Lady Farrington gestures for her to play along.
Indeed, it's the best weather for a polo match.
Now, keep a keen eye contact with them. Hang on every single one of his words, but not so much that you seem desperate. An athletic man like yourself must have had some experience on the pitch.
Or decides to commit, deepens her voice and sits more like a gent.
Just some occasional horseback riding, milady.
I also enjoy time with the horses.
How lovely. I find them the most majestic of creatures.
Men are not naturally humorous, but they all believe that they are, so you must feign laughter. You must visit my father's stables sometimes.
Well, I'll have to take you up on that sometime, milady.
That would be lovely. I'd really enjoy your company. Final lesson. It is important to make him feel validated. If it weren't for women, I'm not sure men would ever feel any ounce of self-worth.
Griffiths enters the room. George follows.
Ladies, George Wellesley to see you.
Lady Farrington is shocked. Caroline smiles. Cut to interior theatre lobby. Night. Lady Farrington, along with Alice, Marjorie, Caroline and George, are chatting amongst themselves as they wait to be let into the theatre.
Why, yes, Lady Farrington, I do very much enjoy the theatre, just as every well-rounded man should.
Lady Farrington looks pleased.
My favourite is Romeo and Juliet. Isn't it so romantic?
Indeed, two soulmates kill themselves for their love. How idyllic.
Cecil enters the conversation.
Good evening, Spinsters Bailey. Funny to run into you here.
Cousin Cecil.
Alice, I heard the strangest thing from Walter the other day. Something so strange, it seems he'd rather walk into the lake than speak to you ever again.
Now, Cecil, you must be kind to us, in case your dear Mumsy overhears.
As if it were on cue, Beatrice enters.
Cecil, I do hope you're not being rude to your cousin.
Mother, I'm being just as angelic as you raised me.
Yes, as angelic as Beelzebub himself.
The doors open to the theatre. As the cousins enter in, Beatrice and Lady Farrington split off to talk.
It is always lovely to see my nieces and sister-in-law, but where is my brother?
Lord Farrington expressed his displeasure for this play and is staying home.
That's odd. As in our prior correspondence, he indicated enthusiasm for one George Bernard Shaw.
Yes, Richard preferred for Caroline to have an evening with George without him embarrassing her with her overzealousness for the play.
Very well, then.
The two head into the theatre. Beatrice looks suspicious of Farrington. Lady Farrington. Cut to exterior theatre after the show. As Beatrice, Lady Farrington, Marjorie, Alice and Cecil are speaking about the show, George and Caroline are together.
The show was quite remarkable.
I was a bit underwhelmed.
Oh, no, don't tell me you didn't have a good time.
Well, no, I disliked the play, but I still enjoyed myself quite a bit.
Oh.
I could endure countless tedious performances provided I saw them with a beautiful woman.
Caroline blushes.
And while the play bored me greatly, my imagination kept me quite engaged.
Oh, what did you imagine?
Sharing a kiss with a certain beautiful woman, among other things.
Can't you be more specific?
I could. That would spoil the fun. Good night, Caroline.
George takes Caroline's hand and kisses it, and leaves. Lady Farrington is looking at the two of them.
Excuse me.
Oh, nothing.
Interior, carriage, night. Beatrice is sitting in her carriage. As Cecil stumbles in clumsily, the carriage sets off.
Well, that was quite interesting, wasn't it?
I found it quite boring.
Not the play, you simpleton. Lord Farrington's absence.
Well, maybe he knew how boring it would be.
No. He loves the theatre. He wrote to me just last week expressing how enthused he was for this production. Did you see him when you called upon the girls the other day?
No.
Something is amiss. I do not know what, but something.
Mother, I think you give the Baileys too much credit.
And you don't give them enough. As my brother had no sons, you are next in line to become the Viscount of Farrington, as is the law. But without money, it will be a hollow title at best. A lord who is poor makes for a poor lord, so we must keep an eye on the Baileys so that we may negotiate a better standing for ourselves.
But, Mother, I do not understand what you mean.
In this world, there are two ways to make money. Be liked or be clever. A liked man can marry into wealth or gain the affection of an old man and inherit. A clever man can earn it through scheming, obtain. You, my beloved son with the moistest lips in the land, are neither liked nor clever. So I must be clever for you. As I have no head for business, yes, I do. Scheming is all we have left. Schemes need information, and that is where you come in.
But I don't know anything.
Well, that you've made abundantly clear through every word you've spoken to me in this carriage. But you will learn it. My boy, find out what the Baileys are hiding. And once we know, I will figure out what to do next with my head for business.
Interior, foyer, day. Caroline, Alice, Marjorie, and Lazy Farrington enter the house. They are talking excitedly.
Well done, Caroline. I am not too proud to admit when I was wrong. That boy seems quite taken with you. He was talking your ear off all night.
I just want to take his clothes off. You know what I mean? You know, clothes do come off, correct?
Do you gain pleasure from making our mother blush?
George likes it when I'm vulgar. He says it's refreshing.
You can run naked through the Queen's tea for all I care, so long as he proposes.
I'm just glad it's you and not me. The possibility of a proposal and the scandalizing of the Queen.
Don't worry, Mother. I shall wait until the honeymoon to test the royal guard.
I should think you would be otherwise occupied during your honeymoon.
Yes. But doing what? Could you at least give me a hint, Mother?
Good night, Caroline. Your father would be so proud.
They head upstairs into their own rooms, bidding each other good night. Exterior garden home night. Lady Farrington and Caroline, Alice and Marjorie are walking.
Mother, I am prepared to put my best foot forward in finding a match, even if it has to be a man whose hair grazes his collar.
Marjorie cringes at the thought.
And I am ready to simply try.
Luckily for you, Caroline has earned you a slight reprieve. While I don't wish to count my chickens before they hatch, I have high hopes for her and George.
Thank the Lord.
That does mean you shouldn't keep not looking for a husband. Marriages are a social currency, and I, for one, would like to be wealthy.
If that's the case, I will be impoverished for life.
Caroline, it is urgent that we make this official soon, so you know what you have to do.
Charm him with my crass comments. I'm on it.
Interior, garden home, night, continuous. Caroline walks away from her mother and sisters. A quartet plays a romantic number as couples dance in the middle of the ballroom. For a while, she walks along the perimeter of the dance floor, looking for George. She bumps into Alfred.
Oh, I'm so sorry, my lady.
No, I should be apologizing for being so clumsy. I was too distracted looking for someone.
Anyone in particular? A friend? Lover?
Yes.
Hmm.
Maybe you could be of assistance. Are you familiar with a George Wellesley?
You knew him. My most earnest apologies. I'm loath to tell you this sorrowful news, particularly if you were close. But George Wellesley passed away 3 nights ago.
The other side of the ballroom. A group of people are chatting when they hear.
Piss and ass!
They are silent after Caroline's exclamation. Cut 2. Moments later, Caroline, Alice and Marjorie are gathered in the corner of the ballroom. Caroline has already filled them in on George's passing.
So, George died because of bees? How does that even happen?
He died in your honor, Caroline, picking flowers for you. It's quite romantic.
Romantic, more like tragic.
There's no need to fuss over the genre of the incident. The true concern is now I'll never get to see a scrotum.
Caroline, why don't you say it even louder so the mamas at the other end of the hall can hear you more clearly?
Enough! We must tell Mother calmly, or it will be our next step for her joining George and Papa. We need to all refocus and overcome our tendencies.
Our tendencies?
Sweet Alice, you need to act much more interested in finding a man, even if that's not your purpose. Not too eager, but eager enough. And Caroline, not every man is going to enjoy the spice you bring to conversations like the late Mr. Wellesley. Still seem interesting, but not as candid.
Why are there so many rules to follow as a woman when men can say and do what they please?
When a man is told to jump, a woman is told to lift him up, and to do so without ruining her dress.
And she is to accept all imperfections of a man, even the small ones, dear sister.
I will. We shall find husbands to protect our way of life for our family, for Mama.
We did miss some of that, dear sister. I'm afraid frozen with shock if you wanted to repeat part of that.
So sorry, dear sister. We shall find husbands to protect our way of life for our family, for Mama, for Griffiths, and Miss Hall.
The night is still young. Let us go find the poor fools that will make us wives.
Cut 2. Interior, ballroom, later. Alice sees Douglas standing alone on the side of the ballroom. She takes a deep breath.
You can do this.
She confidently approaches him.
Are you enjoying the dancing?
Well, I dislike the foxtrot and would rather suffer from consumption than ever perform a waltz.
Alice fakes laughter just as her mother taught her.
Well, I'm happy to have found someone else around here who detests dancing as much as myself. I'm Alice.
Douglas, pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Well, if I were one to dance, you're the only person here I wouldn't mind being my partner.
Well, that is a lovely thing to say, although I'm afraid I cannot return the compliment.
I don't think that was deserved at all.
Rose, tall, elegant, walks to Douglas's side.
Alice, this is my wife, Rose.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Alice greets her and runs off crying.
Whatever did we do?
I have no idea.
Cut to interior ballroom elsewhere. Caroline's with Victor.
Miss Caroline, you seemed quite distracted on the dance floor.
I do apologize. I had the absolute worst day.
I completely understand. The third valet I have had this year put in his notice, and I don't know if it's me or if it's pure circumstance.
Thanks. My thanks for this perspective.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to find a good valet?
Caroline loses her cool and screams.
He died of bees!
Pardon me?
He's gone. The love of my life promised me. He told me what the urethra is, and he is gone.
Well, anyone could tell you what that is.
Then tell me, what is the urethra? That's okay. That's what I thought. I'll never meet a man like him ever again.
Caroline storms off. Cut to interior library. Alice runs in, shaken from her encounter with Douglas.
The only person here I wouldn't mind being my partner. Pathetic.
Hush! I'm trying to read.
Alice wanders round the library to find William, a rigid and blunt man, sitting in an armchair.
These balls are incredibly droll.
You're not one for the social scene of London.
It's nonsensical. The dresses are uncomfortable, the dancing is awkward, and the people are dull. And I shall assume the same of you until proven otherwise.
Quite. That's why the only grand balls I willingly participate in are bound in leather.
He points to his book.
Out there, the collars are too rigid, the music too repetitive, and the people a sea of sycophants.
Exactly. I've come to terms with the fact that I must be married, but I so resent the thought of a husband.
Marriage is a foolish endeavor.
It's a grim business.
To think my mother wants me to marry just to continue the family line.
Disgusting. And my mother wants me to marry so the family can keep the estate.
Terrible.
Wait.
This may be an indecent proposal.
Well, most proposals are.
Will you marry me?
Will I have to be your wife?
Only on paper, please.
Then yes.
Oh, very good.
William returns to his book. A beat, and then he puts it down.
I'm William, Earl of Wiltshire.
Alice, nice to meet you.
The two shake hands. Interior, ballroom. Alfred and Marjorie finish dancing.
As fun as that was, I must go and find my mother.
She politely curtsies and walks away. While trying to find Lady Farrington to inform her about George, she runs into Cecil.
Why, isn't it the spinster Bailey? Oh, I'm happy to see you've finally accepted your title.
Cecil, your lack of vocabulary and imagination with your insults never ceases to amaze me. Actually, no, it has ceased to amaze me.
Now, where are your niceties, Marjorie?
It's the strangest thing. My etiquette tends to evaporate from my body when there's a rat in my presence.
Are you implying that I'm a rodent?
Well, I don't hear the scurrying of tiny feet below me.
Your father would be displeased with your lack of decorum.
My father would encourage rudeness towards pests.
Speaking of your father, where is Lord Farrington?
He's at home, feeling ill.
I'm a bit worried about my dear uncle, as I haven't seen him in quite some time. It makes me think that you're trying to hide something.
I would never do such a thing, my dearest cousin.
Are you sure about that? You have never been the best liar.
My father is ill, Cecil.
Oh, this is quite the performance, Marjorie. You should put it up as a show at the Old Vic.
I'm telling the truth.
Then prove it.
Well, if you're so concerned about the state of my father, come by tomorrow and see him for yourself.
I shall.
Excellent. Cannot wait to see you tomorrow.
Likewise.
Father will be looking forward to your visit.
Oh, I bet he will.
Interior, carriage, night. Lady Farrington is sitting in the carriage, waiting for her daughters to return. Alice, Marjorie, and Caroline enter and sit down, subdued.
Well, how did it go? Did he propose? Am I to have a son?
Caroline looks as if she is on the verge of tears, starts angry, crying.
No, Mama. Okay, George did not propose. George shall never propose because George is fucking dead and I shall never learn the purpose of foreskin.
Caroline cries into her mother's lap.
Hush, my darling, hush. It shall be all right. I'm sure we'll figure out something. Or you or your sisters will find someone and our family will be all right.
Oh, bugger. Our family loved him and I loved him, Mama. And now he's dead.
I know, darling. I know. And I am so sorry.
I'm afraid that is not all.
Whatever do you mean?
Well, Cousin Cecil was asking about father, and you know how he is when he talks with that little mouth of his and you just want to slap him.
I am familiar with the feeling. Go on.
Well, he kept insinuating these awful things about father, and I couldn't stand for it. So to prove him wrong, I invited Cecil to come over tomorrow to see him.
So, to prove Cecil wrong, you have invited him over to where he will invariably be proven right.
Well, it sounds just awful when you say it like that.
Well then, how should I say it?
Marjorie and Lady Farrington begin to yell, while Caroline cries harder and Alice is somewhat detached.
Mother, I said I'm sorry and I just couldn't help it. He was just making me so mad and I wasn't thinking and I couldn't very well just take it back and it would have been suspicious. Mother, we shall figure something out. You know that isn't fair, Mother.
Expect to keep this ruse going. We'll figure something out.
I am engaged.
Would you see we'll figure something? What? Caroline!
What? Alice can say that nonsense while I cannot even curse.
No, it's not nonsense. I am engaged.
To whom?
Caroline. To whom?
William. So I don't know. I don't remember his surname. He's an earl.
William Bonneville, the Hermit Earl of Wiltshire.
Hermit Earl? Oh, Alice, he sounds perfect for you.
Yes, he seems quite inoffensive.
Coming from you, that's a Shakespearean sonnet.
Cut to exterior, the Farringtons' home. The sisters and Lady Farrington exit the carriage.
Well, I've had quite enough excitement for the night.
I think we all have.
Must prepare to set out the rat traps for your cousin tomorrow.
Lady Farrington and Marjorie walk ahead of Alice and Caroline.
Will you tell me what happens? Once you're married.
Oh, Caroline, I intend to remain as unenlightened about married life on my 50th anniversary as I am today.
Interior, drawing room, day. The next day, Alice, Marjorie and Caroline are sitting about. Lady Farrington enters.
Has Cecil arrived yet?
No, Mother, but the neighbor's dog was going mad a minute ago, so I assume he's close.
Do you have a plan, Mother?
Yes, but it is not as sound as I would like it. We must play the simpleton. If we cannot lead Cecil away, then we shall lead him on a wild chase around the estate. He is not a man of endurance, so hopefully when his stamina runs, his curiosity will also follow.
Won't our ignorance arouse a new suspicion?
He already thinks us a fool, and nothing makes a man feel wiser than believing a woman to be foolish.
Speak of the sage.
Griffiths enters, leading Cecil.
Speak of the sage.
Mr. Cecil Cox to see you, milady.
Not quite, Griffins. It is the Lord Farrington I wish to see, not his wife, and certainly not his spawn.
Oh, my apologies, Cecil, but I do believe you missed him. Lord Farrington mentioned he had several errands to perform today, so he must already be in town.
Then why are your coachman and carriage sitting parked just outside?
Oh, perhaps the tasks were in walking distance.
Well, if he is nearby, I shall meet him out. Where did you say he was heading?
Sorry, so sorry. Of course. I've forgotten. He went down to the kitchens to discuss some grand plans for some important dinner with the cook.
Well, then I shall meet him there.
I will show you to the kitchen.
I know where the kitchens are.
Are you sure? The servants' area can be a confounding maze. I know I get lost all the time.
Cecil's eyes narrow in suspicion at the apparent kindness.
Well, I'm sure you do, but I shall be fine.
Cecil starts to exit towards the stairs that lead to the kitchen. Marjorie gets up and follows.
No, I insist.
Marjorie walks briskly to get ahead of him. He tries to get in front of her, and back and forth as they make their way down the stairs. William enters the drawing room.
Pardon me, I knocked, and no one answered, so I let myself in.
And who, may I ask, are you, Mr.
Bonville, Lord of Wiltshire, technically, but I've never been much for formalities.
William.
Griffiths looks at Alice, then William in recognition, and nods in approval.
William, what are you doing here?
Well, I realized that our brief exchange last night may not have been completely binding as a proposal, so I came here to discuss with your father so as to get everything in order.
My what?
Your father, Lord Farrington?
Yes, of course, my father.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, quite. Well, he is previously engaged at the moment, so why don't you sit and have some tea while you wait?
Yes. Oh, well, all right then.
Cut 2. Interior kitchens continuous. Marjorie leads Cecil into the kitchens. Mrs. Lansbury, the cook, stops in the middle of what she was doing and stands to attention.
Here we are, the kitchens. I told you the servants' quarters were a maze.
This was the first door I suggested.
And you were right. I was wrong, and you are so clever. And wasn't it nice to see all the servants' quarters?
Not particularly.
Well, we live and we learn.
So, where is Lord Farrington?
An insightful question. Mrs. Lansbury, have you seen Lord Farrington?
Marjorie gives Mrs. Lansbury an intense look.
Why, he was just here a minute ago. I think he was heading into town.
We must hurry if we are to catch him. Come, Cecil.
Marjorie hurries off at almost a run as Cecil tries to keep up with her. Cut 2, interior, drawing room, continuous.
And that is how the love of my life died.
Bees. I'm so sorry.
I do apologize for my sister. She has an infinity for the melodramatic. Affinity, that is.
I do. And, well, it did happen just yesterday, so.
Tragedy is no excuse for burdening our guest.
Nonsense. Too often we shy away from the dramatic, the macabre. I personally am devoted to the serials they print in magazines, and you have my deepest sympathies that you happen to be living in one.
Yes, whenever a story manifests in reality, it is tragic, particularly if the story is a comedy.
Yes, exactly.
Marjorie and Cecil speed walking past the drawing room.
Keep up, Cecil. We don't want to miss father.
I always knew you looked like a horse, but I didn't know you ran like one.
Wit!
They exit out the front door.
Was that Cecil Cox?
Regrettably, yes, he is our cousin by blood, not affection.
He owes me quite a bit of money.
Cut 2, exterior, the Farringtons' home, continuous. The coachman is brushing the horse as Marjorie and Cecil hurry out. Oh, Cecil, you're on mute.
He isn't here either. Is your cook as idiotic as you?
Oh, Cecil, be charitable. Mistakes were made and should be forgiven.
Milady.
I beg your pardon. Have you seen Lord Farrington? We were told we might catch him before he left for town.
I haven't seen him, milady. I was just told to keep the carriage around, and I'll keep it here until I'm told otherwise.
Thank you very much for your time.
Well then, where is he?
Have you checked the study? He usually has a case of papers when going into town. I expect you might find him there.
Off to the study then.
Marjorie whirls around and bounds off as Cecil glares at her coachman and then turns to follow. Cut 2, interior, drawing room, continuous. Marjorie and Cecil hurry past the drawing room in the other direction. Cecil is huffing.
Lord Farrington, better be in the study.
I'm sure he is, cousin dearest.
Why are you talking like that?
They continue off.
Oh, is Lord Farrington in the study? Well, I suppose I shall call upon him there.
No, he isn't in the study.
But your sister just said that he was.
No, it's just a little game that we play.
I've never cared for games more elaborate than billiards.
Well, I ought to make sure their playtime doesn't get out of hand.
Lady Farrington stands and exits. Caroline leans forward.
Oh, William, I'm trying to understand. Is sperm a very concentrated urine? You know, the diagrams are quite unhelpful.
Cut 2, interior, the study, continuous. Cecil throws the door to the study open and barges in, looking around wildly. Marjorie enters behind him.
Where the devil is he?
I thought for sure he would be here.
What nonsense are you playing at? Where is Lord Farrington and why are you keeping him from me?
Keeping him from you? I don't know what you could possibly mean.
Useless woman.
He shoves past her and exits the study to find Lady Farrington.
What is all this commotion about?
You, where's your husband?
Have you tried the kitchen?
Yes.
And the carriage is still here?
Yes.
And the study?
We are in the study.
Well, that is a puzzle.
Davies walks past, but Cecil stops him.
You, valet, where is your lord?
Well, he is. Oh, I'm sure I just saw him.
Where? Or is everyone in this house as daft as a rotten cabbage?
No, he is in his he's in his bedchambers. He's quite ill, I'm afraid.
Oh, I thought he was better.
Cecil starts sprinting up the stairs to the Lord's room.
I'm sorry, milady. I couldn't think of anything else.
Stop him.
Right.
Davy sprints after Cecil. William is walking towards the study with Griffiths and Alice following behind.
Griffiths, come with me.
My lady?
Now!
Lady Farrington and Griffiths head up to the stairs briskly.
So is Lord Farrington ill?
No, he's fine.
I can come back at a later time. I wanted to move forward with planning our marriage, which of course we cannot do until I speak with him.
But he isn't ill.
I heard his valet. He said Lord Farrington is ill.
Well, you can't trust a thing we say.
Yeah, that is becoming more and more apparent. Well, when you are prepared to mean what you say, you may call upon me.
William begins to head to the foyer. Alice shoots Marjorie a glare. Cut 2. Interior hallway continuous. Cecil is heading to Lord Farrington's bedroom when Davies manages to sprint ahead and block the door.
Step aside, valet.
I'm sorry, sir. My lord is very ill, and I can't see anyone at the moment.
I said, step aside.
I apologize, but Lord Farrington is my master, not you.
While Davies and Cecil were arguing, Griffiths and Lady Farrington slip into her bedroom, which is next door. Cut 2. Interior. Lady Farrington's bedchambers. Continuous. Lady Farrington is handing one of Lord Farrington's robes to Griffiths.
Griffiths, you must do this for us.
But, my lady...
Please, if you don't, we will be ruined.
It's just so very improper.
Please, Griffiths, if you have ever had any love for our family, you must do this.
But how, my lady?
Lady Farrington looks to the open window.
Please, my lady.
Cut 2. Interior hallway. Continuous. Cecil and Davies are arguing even louder. Cecil looks like he might punch Davies, and Davies looks like he is preparing for the blow.
Please keep your voice down. My lord is resting.
You insubordinate imbecile!
Exterior, second floor of the house. Continuous. Griffiths, in full butler uniform holding the robe, is scooting across a ledge on the second floor. His tails flap in the wind as he gets to the window of Lord Farrington's room and tries to open it. Interior, Lord Farrington's bedchamber. Continuous. Griffiths falls in through the window. He scrambles up, takes off his tails, puts on the robe, goes to the fireplace and grabs a handful of grey ash.
Go into service, Mother said. It will be dignified, she said.
Griffith takes the ash, rubs some onto his hands, and puts very thin lines on his cheeks and eyes to make his face look thinner, ill, and gaunt. He goes to stand by the door, sees a tin of shoe polish, and takes a scoop of polish on his finger.
Lord help me.
He puts the polish in his mouth and swallows. Cut 2. Interior hallway continuous. Cecil shoves Davies aside and he stumbles back.
I will deal with you later.
No, don't!
The door suddenly opens from the other side, revealing an unrecognisable Griffiths looking very ill indeed. He immediately spews back black vomit from his mouth all over Cecil.
Damn it, Cecil. Shut up and leave. I need to sleep.
He looks as if he's going to vomit again, and Cecil runs away before he can get hit again. Exterior of Farrington's home continuous. William has left the house and is headed towards his carriage. Alice is chasing after him.
William, please don't leave.
Who are you? Last night, I thought we were alike, practical and pragmatic, but this whole day has been filled with nonsense.
That's not true.
Cecil comes running out covered in black vomit, screaming.
Monster! A creature you should see your father, for if he is not a walking corpse now, he will be lying one soon.
Cecil continues running.
Well, maybe a little nonsense.
What is going on, Alice? Tell me the truth. No games. Games are for stories and parties, but not for business. And marriage is a business. An amicable one, I hope, but a business nonetheless. And there can be no lies between business partners.
Yes, you're right. What do you wish to know?
Is your father ill?
No.
Then can I see him?
Not exactly.
William turns to go.
Wait, no. Come with me, I'll explain.
Exterior, behind the kitchen, stay. Alice leads William to the same place where they buried Lord Farrington.
Lady Alice, I must reiterate that I detest mysteries that are not confined to the page.
Your patience is now to be rewarded, because we're here.
And where, pray tell, is here?
Well, you wish to see my father. Here he is.
Where?
About 3 feet below where we stand. I would have liked to have him deeper, but digging is tedious work.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
No. You're afraid that you do understand.
So he is...
Yes.
And you haven't...
Oh.
Why?
With my father dead, his fortune has been willed to his daughter's husbands, but with his daughters unmarried, his fortune would go to our dear cousin Cecil Cox, who would gladly see my mother, my sisters, and I living in the gutter.
Pissing off.
So, you see, in the eyes of the law, father cannot die until at least one of his daughters is wed.
I understand. You hoped to trap me in your elaborate ruse.
No. I hoped for us to be wed. Then we would let my father die publicly. We would inherit his fortune, and then we shall see as much or as little of each other as we would like. No more bulls or suitors, parents, expectations, just a husband and a wife who expect nothing more from each other than what the other is willing to give. I did not hope to trap you. I hoped to recruit you.
Alice holds out a hand to cement the deal. William does not take it.
I'm sorry. I cannot get mixed up in all of this.
But, William...
I wish you well in your ruse, but I shall not be your accomplice.
William starts to walk away.
Wait. You will not tell anyone, will you?
Scandal does not become us. I shall say nothing of you, and if this comes out, I shall say, you shall say nothing of me, please.
William leaves. Alice is alone, frustrated and sad at the plan's failure. Interior, Wiltshire Estate Day. William enters his home, sets down his hat and coat, and goes to sit in the library. He starts to read. His mother, Lady Wiltshire, enters.
Oh, William, I did not expect you back so soon. How did it go?
It didn't. It was a mistake, and I'm glad I found out before the engagement was public.
Zoom in on William getting more and more annoyed as his mother delivers his speech, grasping his book tighter and tighter.
Oh, William, you are just impossible. All I want is for you to find a nice girl, marry, settle down, and have a few children. Your father, rest his soul, would have wanted that for you too. I don't see why this is such a trial for you. You are handsome enough. You're an earl, for heaven's sake. In your first season, women couldn't help but swoon in your presence, but you couldn't give them the time of day. And now you sit and read? Maybe if I could dress up as a girl, as a printing press, she would get your attention. I just don't know where I would find such a costumer. Thank goodness for your brother, who has no such reservations. Why, he is out right now calling on Vivian Harper. Her father does very well for himself. I expect an engagement within the month. Oh, wouldn't that be nice to go to my own son's wedding before I am 80. I never thought it would be too much to ask, but here I am, and there you are. Are you even listening? I swear, one of these days, I shall have the butler burn down this library, and maybe then we could have a conversation. Do you know how long it has been since you have looked me in the eye? I don't even know what color they are anymore. Blue, green, purple.
William shoots up abruptly and begins to make for the front door.
William, where are you going?
Out, mother.
William exits the room. Then he pokes his head back in.
And they're brown, mother. The same as everyone else in the family.
Interior drawing room, evening. William bursts into the drawing room where Alice and Lady Farrington are talking. He goes to Alice and extends his hand to shake.
You have a deal, if the offer still stands.
What made you reconsider?
My mother threatened to burn down my library.
Monster.
Indeed. Are we still agreed?
We are.
Alice takes William's hand. They shake. Lady Farrington is tearing up with joy.
Oh, my little girl is getting married.
Interior, Lady Beatrice is home. A week later, Beatrice and Cecil are sitting in the drawing room. It is significantly smaller and more modest than the Farrington home. A butler enters and presents Beatrice with several letters on a silver platter. She flips through them, but one of them catches her eye. It's a wedding invitation for Alice and William. Beatrice reads it with great suspicion.
What's the matter, mother?
It seems as if your cousin Alice is to be wed to the Earl of Wiltshire.
Oh, my condolences to the Earl.
Yes, but something is off.
Of course something is off when a lord marries a shrew.
Not that. Why did my brother not tell me of this himself?
I told you, mother, he is deathly ill. He ruined my favourite shirt.
That's exactly my point. If he is on his deathbed, then why has he not sent for me?
Why do you care? You've always said that Uncle Richard was an insufferable bore.
You are also an insufferable bore, but I still wish to be present at your deathbed.
Come again?
I believe I shall go pay my respects to the bride before the wedding.
Fine. I just need to fetch my coat.
No! I'm going alone.
Interior Farrington home drawing room later that day. Caroline and Lady Fairline are playing with flower arrangements, while Alice and Marjorie are scanning through obituaries.
What do you think, Mother? The roses or the lilies?
Roses, of course. Lilies are for funerals. Get rid of them.
And maybe we should hold on to them. Marjorie, what do you think about this one? A Mr. Kent.
Alice leans over to look.
You were 75. Far too old to be father. Keep looking.
It's hard enough finding a husband, let alone a body.
Griffiths enters, escorting Beatrice.
Lady Beatrice.
What is this about finding a body?
Oh, yes.
Just One of Alice's little jokes, talking about faking her own death to get out of this marriage, you understand.
Oh no! I was so thrilled on my wedding day. My late husband and I were mad about each other. Are you not excited?
Oh, I am. I just like to have options.
Of course. Well, I just came to give you my best wishes and to see how my brother is holding up.
Still quite ill, I'm afraid. The doctor said he shouldn't have any visitors.
What a shame it is. Which doctor?
Oh,
Dr. Dr. Strotus.
Dr. Scrotus? Never heard of him. Is he well regarded?
Yes, he is young, very promising new mind in the medical world.
Indeed. Maybe I should give him a visit. I've been having this pain in my joint that has become quite bothersome. Where can I call on him?
You can't. He's very busy. You know how city doctors are.
Of course. Well, as I said, I wanted to give Alice my best wishes. And if there's anything I can do to help with the wedding, you will let me know, won't you?
Oh, of course I will. That's very kind of you.
Beatrice goes to leave. Griffiths makes as if to follow her.
Mr. Griffiths, I can see myself out. Good day.
Beatrice goes to the front door. She opens it and then shuts it loudly while staying inside. She then walks back to the drawing room to eavesdrop.
Dr. Scrotus?
Okay, it's all I could come up with.
She is going to be big trouble. I don't know what we are to do with her.
Could always bury her in the backyard next to father.
Hush, Marjorie.
Beatrice narrows her eyes as her sister continues to talk and she exits silently. Back in the drawing room, Ms. Hall enters with a dress box.
Lady, your dress has arrived.
Yep, let us see.
Lady Farrington takes a dress out of the box and displays it. We are on page 70.
It's gorgeous.
It's perfect. I know I see enthused. I know I do seem that, but it's truly actually not the dress. The dress is very white. I actually meant our corpse.
Oh,
I found it.
I'm so glad you like it. I knew it would be so enthused about something. I knew you'd be so enthused about something.
Yeah, not
looks
not
up
the
from the newspaper.
Yeah, once not the dress. Again, to clarify, the body is perfect. Toodles.
All right, bye.
Interior, Lady Beatrice's home day. Beatrice enters her drawing room briskly. Cecil has dozed off with a biscuit in his hand.
Oh, Marjorie.
Beatrice throws a pillow at Cecil, who starts to awake.
Mother.
Dead! My brother Richard is dead!
Just now?
I doubt it. 5 weeks ago. But they've been hiding it. Oh, clever. They are clever, aren't they?
But why? The marriage, the money, my money.
Oh, figured it out, have you?
But, Mother, are you sure?
Oh, I'm quite sure. And I shall expose them all as liars and frauds. I promise you this, son of mine. This shall be the most talked about wedding of the decade!
Interior, back room of the chapel. Lady Farrington is fixing Alice's veil.
Alice, you may not think so now, but this is the most special day of your life.
Mama, stop crying. It's only a Wednesday.
No, It's for the family, but you will remember this moment forever.
I'll look upon today as fondly as I remember eating my breakfast this morning.
I never thought I'd see any of my daughters get married, least of all you.
Lady Farrington takes a handkerchief and wipes her eyes.
But, it really isn't a moment that I'm going to remember.
Let me just enjoy this.
Lady Farrington happily admires Alice in her wedding dress. Cut to interior chapel, narthex. Griffiths is dressed in Lord Farrington's morning coat, faced away from the door in the corner. Marjorie and Caroline stand by the door, ready to intercept their aunt and cousin. Cecil and Beatrice quickly walk in.
Cousin Cecil! Aunt Beatrice, you're right on time. We must sit down.
It is quite interesting because we are here an hour before we were told to arrive.
Whoever told you that information is foolish.
It was you! You who gave us the wrong time!
Oh dear, Marjorie, how silly of you.
Both of you are acting below your wits.
Me?
Your cousin, Cecil, you'll behave your status quo. Now, if you don't mind, as he appears to be in good health, I shall quickly say hello to your father.
You mustn't.
Why is that?
He's still not feeling well. Plus, it's bad luck.
To see the father of the bride, that's not so.
Yes, in some cultures it has been said to cause great misfortune.
We'll chance it.
Caroline and Marjorie stare at each other in panic. Caroline gives Marjorie a look of confidence. She faints, aiming to fall in Beatrice's arms. Caroline falls at her aunt's feet as Beatrice fails to catch her.
Oh dear.
Typical Caroline, making today about her.
Meanwhile, Marjorie ushers Griffiths away.
Should you take her to hospital, or...?
Caroline's eyes open.
Well, I'm quite all right. I must be having pre-wedding jitters.
Oh, I thought those were typically reserved for the bride.
Cecil and Beatrice help Caroline up. Marjorie returns to the group.
Support me as I walk Cecil and Aunt Beatrice. I do not want to risk the chance of fainting again and ruin my sister's big day.
We must go sit down. We cannot miss seeing the father of the bride walking down the aisle.
You mean you don't want to miss seeing the beautiful bride?
Beatrice narrows her eyes.
Yes, that.
Interior chapel, continuous. Beatrice and Cecil support Caroline on either side as they walk down the aisle. They are about halfway to the altar.
Now, I don't want to be sitting too close. I want to be able to see over Davies.
Cecil and Beatrice begrudgingly walk backward with Caroline.
No, this is too far. I want to be able to see my sister get married.
Did your sister not want you to be a bridesmaid?
Oh, heavens no. Alice finds it terribly unreliable.
They all walk forward a bit. Caroline enters the aisle, supporting her. Aunt Beatrice sits next to her, and Cecil sits on the outermost part of the aisle. Marjorie stands on the outside.
Is there room for me?
You should sit with your parents.
No, cousin, there's no one I'd rather sit next to than you.
Marjorie tries her best to hide the disgust of what she said, as Caroline, Beatrice and Cecil awkwardly scoot down to make room. Interior chapel narthex. Alice walks to meet Griffiths. He is made up to look ill and is walking with a cane.
Oh, ready to get this charade over with?
I am.
Thank you for doing this.
Of course. Lady Alice, I know being married isn't your dream, nor your want. but I know Lord Farrington would be proud of you for doing this for your family. I know it's because of the circumstances, but I, for one, am honoured to be walking you down the aisle.
Griffiths, I wish that this didn't have to be, but I'm happy to have you by my side.
Alice hugs Griffiths. The organ music starts to play. Griffiths hooks Alice's arm.
It's time for you to become a countess, Lady Alice.
Yes. At least I get a grand title out of the ordeal. I mean, I love grand titles. They make one so unapproachable.
Interior chapel continuous. Griffiths and Alice walk down the aisle. Beatrice is struggling to see as she is next to her tall son. When Cecil and Beatrice are in view of Alice and Griffiths, almost as if rehearsed, Marjorie slaps Cecil. Cecil's on mute.
What was that for?
Many things, but in particular, a fly.
I know what you all are up to, and we'll finally have proof once your father turns around to look back to him. Then the true heir can inherit Bailey.
Caroline faints again, knocking off Beatrice's hat in the process. Alice and Griffiths reach the altar. He kisses her cheek. As he turns around, Beatrice is struggling with Caroline on her lap. Marjorie grabs Cecil's face and turns it towards her.
Caroline!
A beat. Caroline remains still.
Get away from me!
Beatrice shoves Caroline away. She lands with a thud. On the other side of the pew, Marjorie stares at Cecil.
Cecil, I must confess something. This wedding, the romance in the air, it has me realize that I love...
Cousin, I knew it. You love me. This game of cat and mouse we play is just your way of showing me your affections.
Griffiths is now seated. Caroline gets up off the floor.
Oh, okay. Goodness. This day just has me overfilled with emotions, Auntie.
On the other side of the pew, Marjorie slaps Cecil again.
How revolting! I was going to say I love how my sister looks today.
Cut to the front of the chapel.
We are gathered here today to celebrate the union of Alice Bailey and William Bonneville.
Lady Farrington and William's mother are crying tears of happiness. William and Alice both are stoic and look like they'd rather be doing anything else at the moment. Cut back to the middle pew.
Don't seem interested in each other one bit.
I don't blame him.
Marjorie slaps Cecil again. Cut to the front of the chapel later.
Into this union, Alice and William now come to be joined. Should anyone present know of any reason that this couple should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Cut back to the middle pew. Beatrice elbows her son.
Object! Object!
I do object.
Cut this part.
And the minister comes back and says,
And what is your objection?
Well, it's a puke. Never mind.
Cecil, unable to think of anything, sits down.
Now, where were we?
You fool!
Beatrice stands up.
I object.
And what is your objection?
This whole thing is a ruse. My family is trying to convince me my brother is alive, but he is very much dead.
Lady Farrington turns around to address her sister-in-law.
But your brother is not the one getting married. Besides, he's sitting right here in front of me.
No, he isn't, and I'll prove it.
Beatrice furiously steps around Cecil and Marjorie. Beatrice steps into the aisle. Quickly thinking, Marjorie trips Beatrice.
Oh! You brat! You wench, you awful villain, carp lady, you! I am going to expose your family once and for all, and your fate will be ours. Say no! Help me up, then go see for yourself.
Cecil goes over to help Beatrice up. She looks like a mess. He looks around at all of the guests, staring at him with horror, pity, and scorn.
Mama, I think we should leave. You're not feeling well.
Cecil slowly helps his mother up and they exit. Cut back to later, the front of the chapel.
Alice and William, having witnessed your vows of love to one another, it is my joy to present to you all gathered here as husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
William and Alice kiss mechanically. The new couple walks down the aisle, and Griffiths and Lady Farrington sneak out the side door. Cut to exterior chapel. Marjorie and Caroline run up to Alice.
I cannot believe we pulled that off.
This wouldn't have happened if you didn't find someone that you liked.
Alice shakes her head.
That you are compatible with?
Alice shakes her head.
Tolerates?
Yes, I do tolerate him. I tolerate him a great deal.
William enters.
Yes, we tolerate each other very well. An ideal match for our unique situation.
We couldn't be happier for you two.
For one, I was nervous when they tried to object. Our plan would have been ruined if they had thought of anything.
Out of nowhere, Beatrice appears dishevelled and angry.
Now what plan would that be?
Caroline gulps.
My sister was speaking of William and I's plan to have many, many, many children.
Yes, lots and lots of babies.
If the minister had listened to your objections, I wouldn't be able to bear the Earl's children, which I am quite excited to do.
At least 10 children. Oh, and hopefully more.
Yes, the quicker the better. If we weren't speaking with you right now, in fact, ideally we would be procreating.
Lies. You cannot fool me. I will unmask you all. I will find that imposter. It will be over for you.
She turns and hurries away.
We'd be worried.
Mm-mm.
Oh, yeah, wait. Okay, we shouldn't. Good. All right.
No. We shouldn't worry. It will sort itself out. You don't want children, correct?
No, I shall leave that odious chore to my younger brother.
Thank the Lord.
Cut to exterior chapel. A furious Beatrice meets with a breathless Cecil.
Did you find them?
Did not find aunt and uncle.
Then what is your purpose?
Beat. Cecil takes a deep breath.
Mother, I think you're making up this narrative that Uncle Richard is dead.
No, I heard them. It's true. He is dead.
Lady Farrington and Griffiths enter a carriage in the distance. Beatrice catches Griffiths' side profile.
It is him! It is him! The courtyard is in my brother's mourning coat.
Mother, you're sounding mad. That's Lord Farrington.
The carriage passes by Beatrice and Cecil. Beatrice runs after the carriage, grabs onto the handle and looks in the window, clearly seeing that it is Griffiths in his sickly makeup seated next to Lady Farrington. Beatrice loses her grip on the handle and falls into a muddy puddle as the carriage picks up speed. Cecil goes to pick her up.
Come on now, you must be tired. Let's get you home.
Lord Farrington is dead. This man's a fraud.
Yes, yes, I'm sure he is.
It's not the truth.
Cecil leads Beatrice away as we pan up to see Alice and William climbing into a carriage and riding into the proverbial British sunset. Smash cut to exterior graveyard. Alice, William, Marjorie, Caroline, Lady Farrington, Cecil and others are gathered around a graveyard. The same minister from the wedding is next to a coffin and presiding over the funeral. Everyone looks solemn, but Lady Farrington is truly crying, finally able to mourn the death of her husband.
We gather here today to remember and celebrate the life of Richard Bailey, Viscount of Farrington.
The minister goes on in the background while the rest talk quietly.
So, how did you pull this off?
We found a man who looked enough like father who had recently passed. We offered to pay for his funeral as an act of charity. They unwittingly buried a few sandbags. And then our father was tragically discovered dead in his bedchambers 2 nights ago, the day after his daughter's wedding.
How did you get him out of the house?
Well, let's just say that Griffiths and Davies will be getting a generous Christmas bonus this year.
Amen.
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 Cut 2. After the funeral, the mourners are mingling about. Cousin Cecil approaches Lady Farrington.
I know that I have not always gotten on with you and your daughters, but you still have my condolences.
Thank you, Cecil. Where is Lady Beatrice?
Oh, Mother wasn't feeling quite well, saying things that would not be appropriate at a funeral, nerves and whatnot. I'm afraid the city doesn't agree with her, so I sent her back to the country.
Yes, I see. But Cecil, don't be too critical of your mother.
He nods and turns to Alice and William.
Well, I hope this won't completely ruin your honeymoon.
Well, it does start us off on a somber note. We still plan to depart at the end of the week.
That is good. Uncle Richard would have wanted that. Where are you going?
Rome.
Paris.
He's going to Paris. I'm going to Rome.
Oh, right.
Lady Farrington stands alone beside her husband's grave. Her 3 daughters come to stand next to her. She is truly crying now.
Mother, are you all right?
I know that it has been weeks, and that he is not even in that coffin. But this is the first time it really feels like goodbye. I know he loved you all so much, and he would be so proud.
Goodbye, Father.
Goodbye.
Bye, Papa.
They stand together in silence for a moment. Lady Farrington dries her tears on her handkerchief and composes herself.
Well, now that Alice is sorted, we must start thinking about you two.
Mother!
We pan back and fade out as the daughters and mother bicker fondly.
It's never going to be.
I'm not getting married.
No, you have to get married, darling.
The end. Credits. Exterior train station day. William and Alice stand on the platform with their suitcases.
I must say, while I did not expect it, I feel as though I may miss you during my trip to Paris.
And I may miss you during my time in Rome. I shall see you when I return.
Well then, have a good trip.
And you as well, partner.
She holds out a hand to him.
Partner.
He shakes her hand. Alice gets onto a train while William turns to find his platform. Interior, foyer, day. We hear a knock on the door. Marjorie opens it, revealing Cecil holding a bouquet of flowers accompanied by a string quartet.
Marjorie, my beloved.
Marjorie slams the door in his face. Interior, garden home, night. A ball, a man. James approaches Caroline.
I do apologize if this is quite a bit out of place and terribly vulgar, but there's something about you that provokes the loin. So here it goes. I would greatly like to become acquainted with your labia majora.
Sir, that is without a doubt the most enticing offer I've received all season.
James holds out his arm and Caroline takes it and they stroll off. The end.
Yay!
Yay.